what's up, everybody? It's PrimeTime Sports Podcast, brought to you by Digging the Crates, the Hook and Max Show. It's your boy, Filthy Franco.
And your boy, President Eli.
So, man, oh, man. NBA Finals Game 4. You hear that? You hear I said NBA?
Yeah, NBA.
That sound like my people.
NBA lane.
I'm a city boy, but I got them country roots, so I might have had that NBA.
I felt it.
Yeah, man. LA takes a commanding 3-1 lead. I feel like I've said that before.
Commanding? Was it?
Did I say that about the Heat? Ooh,
you might have said it.
Tough.
You might have said it when Kobe Bryant did it in 2010. I might be talking about it. But
man, I was 9 years old.
I can't say same. I remember it like I was at my dad's crib. But we gonna talk about 2020. I watched it for sure.
I know you watched it.
2020 NBA Finals Game 4. Lakers did that thing. They finished out strong. You know what I'm saying?
They did.
The Heat. They made it tight. We're not even gonna lie. We're not gonna make it seem like
it was 102-96, so it was only 6 points.
It wasn't no game one.
It wasn't game one. I think game one was just, if game one didn't happen like that, like if the Lakers still won, but it was a close game like game 4, I really feel like the attitude for the series was
just the way the momentum was shifted.
I just feel like so many people are like, yo, this is such an easy ring, which.
We're not gonna cap. It definitely is. But
I would say it's the easiest out of his rings. I would say it's slightly easier than OKC, because even though Miami won in 5 games, that was a good team.
That was a great team.
That was a really good team. Like they were young, but that was a pretty good team. You know, the Spurs. Even though the Spurs were past.
And they had that revenge factor in them. They got beat by the Mavs, so they had to come back. The Big 3 was over.
Most definitely. And even though they the Spurs were past their prime, that was still a good win.
For sure.
And of course the hardest one. I don't know. I wouldn't say. Well, no, I'll say a 3-1 comeback statistically is the hardest one to come back from. But I think with LeBron's experience, he was able to overcome that kind of gap. So I think even still with saying all that, that was still definitely his hardest ring and possibly the hardest ring of all time. I will say that. But so even though I will say this is a good win, even when LeBron wins this, which I am saying he'll probably win this, hopefully. Unfortunately. I won't say unfortunately, because I got respect for the man.
And I want my damn respect too.
I just hate his fans.
Come back. I don't want to hear no more GOAT talk.
That's what everybody's saying, but
we're gonna be realistic here. There's chances if it happens.
Yeah, I mean, especially the way LeBron playing, 28 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. Listen, man.
He putting up some stats. We're not gonna cap on his name. He's putting up some stats.
Listen, man. Woo.
What you gotta say?
The man. He's called the King James for a reason, because he has been the king of the NBA since like 2010.
I give him that. Most def. We're gonna give him his flowers while he's here. He's definitely.
AD had 22 and 9 forces. So he's had his. These are the games where you expect from somebody who made it past the second round made it past the first round once in his career, and he did only have like 2 playoff appearances before that. So game 3 and game 4, that's kind of
It's expected. He's doing what he's supposed to do.
You can't expect a guy, even though he's been in the league since 2012. Yeah, 2012. To even though he's
have perfect games
he hasn't had the playoff appearance. Yeah, he dropped 31 back to back. So you gotta have that slump. It's just a it's probably going.
He's hit some daggers as well.
Rondo makes his move. Drives again, back to Davis. Davis for 3. Bang! Anthony Davis from downtown. And the Lakers take a 9-point lead.
So,
he did.
Even if he's not having as many rebounds or points, he putting the stamp on the game.
He was clutch.
He's finishing it.
And that's you hitting the spot right there, because he was real clutch. He hit some big shots all game. He would hit like, those moral boosters. No, morale boosters.
Facts.
And the crushers too, because He had a tough fadeaway against
defended. Like you can't even be mad at.
That was just like
that's the one you just got.
Me and my girl watching, just like, bro, come on, like what? Yeah. Shot clock winding down.
That's the shots that
Jimmy hit, but you 7-footer. You 7-footer. You hitting fadeaways.
You can't be mad.
And then of course that dagger at the end of the game. So it's not. It's a good, and that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing, and that's how it's funny how we hold stars to a high standard, because let's say if Bam had 22, 9, and 4, or even, heck, Kelly Olynyk having 22, 9, and 4, or Kuzma having 22, 9, and 4, we talking about them balling.
Hey, they went off.
AD, because that's a good style.
That's true.
But AD, man, that's like,
it's some straight considered, but it's only because, the first 2 games, my man, game 2, he went, 14 for 15?
Yeah.
Come on,
so it's just like that standard we hold starts too when you kind of realize it, when you kind of look at it and you just catch yourself talking like he should have done more when he had a good game.
28. I'm like, not only 28, but it's still a 28.
I don't think only 28 now because he's in the 30s, dude. Like he's not going to drop 40. He was a 30-point scorer. I wouldn't say he was like a dropping 40 like that in the finals. He's a how do I say this? He was a scorer, but he was never like a average 40 points in the finals. He wasn't
a pure hearted scorer.
Yeah, he's
not looking to score.
He can score and nobody's gonna stop him, but that's not his game. That's not his prerogative.
He was more of a passer. But speaking of passing, Jimmy Butler, what were you doing? Why? I understand.
Perfect segue, my guy.
I understand.
Perfect segue.
I understand that this man knows LeBron James. Darth Vader is right behind you to smack you. But look, bro.
You gotta take it, bro.
Take it, bro.
You gotta take it.
Take it, because you're hurting my feelings by me seeing you have an open. I'm not really open.
Now, imagine how Miami feels.
Facts.
Imagine how tired they are.
I know Tyler Hero waiting on that wing. I know
Duncan at the top of the key.
Duncan at the top of the key.
But yo.
Just finish it. Take the contact, because you're a good
free. And you know what? I was thinking of this kind of yesterday and earlier today. They're kind of like the Rockets in a way. Not as hardcore on the 3, but in a way, like a light version of the Rockets.
Come on, give me this.
Because the Rockets, which I will never believe will win a championship or continue progress, are just the 3-point shot is just
so focused on.
Breaking records every year about the attempts and all that. I just look at Miami's offenses, at least their early offense, and it's just them, trying to set up that 3-point shot off the, a ball handler up top, Bam, or whatever big man's in is giving a running screen to Hero, or where Duncan or Hero roll off of it and, catching the in-motion 3. So, usually, that works. So breaking it against Boston.
That comes more so now because of the lack of Dragic, his injury. So we don't have as many. We don't have many, like, they can play off the pick and roll a lot more with Bam, you know what I'm saying?
That's actually
set up some more mid-range shots for Jimmy Butler instead of just Butler driving in. He's not, no offense to he can't play the point, but Dragic plays the point.
That's a great question. I never really thought about that. I never, I love Goran Dragic. I actually follow him on Instagram.
He's cool. He'd be ready to fight. That's why I like him.
Yeah, he's scrappy. He's real scrappy. He got heart. But I never really watched the Heat. I always knew they were that good team. They could pull off an upset. I never really had them as a dark horse. So I honestly, truthfully, didn't watch them. I just saw them on IG, Twitter, talking about how sneaky they are. How sneaky good they are. Underdogs. So they was never really on my radar. And plus, unfortunately for me, unlucky for me, my parents canceled our cable.
Dang.
2-3 weeks before the bubble started back up.
I know how that feels.
It was tough.
My mom got rid of ESPN as soon as the Jordan documentary dropped. No, well, I seen the first. What was it? 10 of them.
No, it sucks. I haven't even watched it yet. But it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. And I got ESPN Plus. I know that sucks. I'm so bad.
The last 2 episodes.
Oh, you missed those?
I missed the last 2 episodes when they aired. They're like, oh yeah, we got rid of a bunch of channels.
Dang. But I'm so bad at that. I'm so bad at watching things where I need to watch because, I love MJ. I respect that man to the death of me. But I still have not watched The Last Dance.
Gosh, you watched.
And I remember, it's crazy because I vividly remember Christmas 2017. Watching the trailer.
Yeah.
I was so hyped and I was so hurt when they said it was 2021. And then they moved it up because, the pandemic. But I remember being so excited for it. I still have not watched it.
You're right.
And I think my original thought process was I didn't want to have to wait, so I'm going to let it play all the way through.
True.
And I'm going to stream
I know people who are also like, I hate waiting week to week. I like the suspense, though.
So I was going to do that, and I just never got around to it. But, we getting off topic. But yeah, Jimmy. Well, no, it's kind of off topic because MJ, he was playing like MJ in Game 3, but Game 4 that was.
He was looking for his Steve Kerr, which would be Tyler Hero. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't get to Tyler Hero and what he was on.
Tyler Hero, 21.7 rebounds.
Get more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? First couple games, I could tell he was nervous. You know, he's a rookie. He's doing what he can, but he played a lot better for a rookie. 21 points. You know what I'm saying? 7 rebounds. Yep. That's good. But start taking the ball. I feel like he should also take the ball in a lot more because, like you said, relying on the 3-point. More than he has. I mean, relying on the 3-point shot to me, it costs the game because you take 10 attempts, you only hit 3 threes. Okay, cool, you got 9 points. But how many times could you have made an easy layup? Not to say that the Lakers don't play good defense because they have some of the best.
Now he has some like really nice like reverse layups. Yeah, exactly. Some real tough ones too, like on AD, on LeBron. It's
not like he's not a good finisher.
I can see what you're saying. I definitely can see what you're saying. You know, he can't finish. He definitely can finish at the rim. I don't know. I just think, you know, don't stop shooting, but at the same time, you can shoot and drive at the same time, nice. Which is something. I know you said we're gonna move on from Jimmy Butler, but I just can't. My guy. You eked it out in Game 3, but in Game 3 you had 45 points and a triple-double, not like a 40, 10, and 10. You had 45, like 13 and 12. Like you have to play. I'm not saying drop 45 and have a 5x5 at the same time, but dude, you cannot have 20 points.
But the difference was AD wasn't guarding him. That's what everyone's saying. AD made that impact, so
he did.
Let's give AD some credit for his defensive effort.
He did, but here's the thing. Early in the game, like first quarter, AD was guarding him. They ran a pick and roll. Dwight switched on to him. Barbecue chicken.
Easy.
Facts. You can game plan around that. You can set up the pick and roll. And if AD don't bite on that pick and go over and go under, if he manages to stay on Jimmy Butler, you gotta cut her. That's when you pass. You don't pass when you're mid-reverse.
Mid-reverse, and then you swing it back out. I feel it,
and then, or drive, take the 2, and just.
I understand the game plan. You know you're gonna crack. You know you're gonna cause them to draw. You're gonna draw a double team. You're gonna crash the lane, and then you dish out to your 3-point shooter. But when your 3-point shooter is not converting, it's time to stop.
That's the thing. They're not hitting like they were.
Yeah, for sure.
They can hit,
but
here's the thing: it's the finals. Everybody knows, unless you're an all-time great, but a lot of people see their numbers go down in the playoffs in general. Also the finals too, definitely the finals. So, especially for a rookie or a second-year player like Duncan Robinson, because you know when you think of Miami hitting a 3, you're thinking of Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, I mean Kelly Olynyk been surprising.
And Jake Crowder can. He had a really bad slump. Yeah, but he's kind of coming around during the finals. But like when they're not hitting like that, you gotta take it. And that's the thing, they weren't hitting like that, and at the same time, the Lakers' defense was smothering too. They would catch the ball and somebody be on them. So at this point, if you're right here, you got somebody on your back. Shoot, they might block it 2 straight times. Keep taking it.
Yeah.
Keep stuffing it. Stuff it down their throats.
Because it don't to lose a game by 6 points. Yeah, you looking for that.
That's 3 drives.
Come on, that's 3 drives.
I mean, I'm not about to disrespect Rondo like he can't defend or he not big time, because Rondo's still big time. He definitely has revived his career.
But
Rondo. He had that one. It was basically an ISO, had the whole floor, because I think it was like a fast break, but he caught it. You know, had Rondo, but then waited for them to come back.
Yeah.
You got the whole floor. Rondo, let's say me, right? Rondo's that camera, right? This room is clear. Hoop is right where that hoop is above the door. And you're not going to drive it, you're going to wait for them to come back and you're going to set up the play?
No.
Dog, this is big time. This is a fast break.
Take it all the way, bro.
You need those fast break points.
All the way.
You need those fast break points. And it was so frustrating because it didn't feel like I was watching Jimmy. Because he was really looking to pass for some reason.
Yeah.
It was like, you could tell, like, he was really looking hard.
He was looking for them assists. I don't know
what.
Yeah, I don't know. He decided he wanted to be John Stockton. But
nobody's John Stockton.
Yeah.
Nobody but John Stockton.
Speaking of John Stockton, LeBron did pass him.
He did pass him.
Also, assist in the playoffs. We're going to give him.
Pick up his flowers.
So we definitely respect that.
Yeah, he definitely did. I think John Stockton is the greatest passer in NBA history.
Okay.
I think he's the greatest. I know Magic's up there.
You know he got the.
I know Magic's up there, but purely a passer. Not take away the flashiness,
take away no looks, and
take away the
everything else.
Take
just
away
simply
the slamming
making
on
the right move, not
pass,
the cleanest move, the right move.
So are you talking about?
No, I'm not saying this is the greatest point guard.
Yeah. No, hold on. You said the greatest passer, right?
Greatest passer all time.
Are you talking about within the structure of the game, or are you talking about flashiness?
Oh, definitely not like that. Come on.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So, in other words, to put it in layman's terms, to put it in you just saying as far as structure to the game, statistically
structured to the game.
Okay. I agree with that. When you
boil down what the point guard is supposed to be like, I remember in high school I had a gym class, and gym class we mostly played basketball, but for like a midterm we took a test, and it was like one of the questions were match the positions with a description. And the point guard was like, he can shoot, but he runs the offense, and he makes the right play. And I think purely for that, in those terms, John Stockton is the person for that. Now, he's not the greatest point guard of all time, but when you boil the point guard down and take out all the the mass scoring, the flashiness, grabbing the boards,
he's the prototype.
I think
he's a typical good court smart point guard.
But he's the standard. He's not the typical. He's the
standard. He's the
one that the typical guards look to.
Yeah.
Like that's who they got the post on the wall.
But even though he was a typical point guard, the mailman didn't cash in. Come on now, what about that? The mailman ain't.
That's not John Stockton's fault.
That's not his fault.
Listen, we all know Karl Malone got some clutch problems. We not gonna lie.
I mean.
So how is it that you can play with a point guard like that and not cash in?
I don't know.
He played Michael Jordan. That's how.
Even without Michael, well, I don't want to get y'all off topic, but
I mean, he did.
I'm just stating the facts that
again, you could say, he only played Mike 2 years out of the '90s, so he could have made it before. But it's a little tricky when you look at people from that era, because it's like he played Mike, but even if he didn't get to the finals, play Mike, he played Hakeem, or he played David Robinson, or he played, Gary Payne and Sean Kemp.
Like they say, that era was the best era for big men.
That's the 80s, 70s to the 90s.
For sure.
Sure.
Even it's crazy because I'm actually excluding Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain when I say that.
Yeah.
But the 70s to the 90s, that's where you get the greatest big men of all time.
For sure.
So if you equated John Stockton, is there anybody today that plays
Steve Nash?
No, I'm talking about anybody today that plays similar style.
To me, that's the closest person I think even though he's not
in recent memory.
In recent memory, that's the closest person that I could see.
So that kind of game
is. That's a good question. I don't really think you can in today's game anymore. Well, I think you can, but I don't think people have
because they do too much of this.
Yeah, they do too much shooting.
I think
Steve Nash could shoot
because near the end of Steve Nash, Michael Jordan kind of changed the game. Larry Bird, Magic, and Mike kind of changed the game where it's not your big man's your scorer, the big man's the reason why you in the finals.
Facts.
It's more you can have a good small forward. You can have a good small forward and make it. You can have a good shooting guard and make it. You have a good point guard and make it. So I think, you don't have to have those specific roles anymore, like the ones on my test that I was telling y'all about. I think you can do things where you don't have to be the category that you were originally fit in.
Sure.
So I think, it didn't have to be like that anymore where a point guard has to facilitate. Point guard can have swagger, point guard can shoot, point guard can dunk, so, you started seeing that in God, I'm forgetting his name. He played for the Nuggets. He had a triple doubles like late 80s, early 90s.
The Fat Lever?
Fat Lever.
Yeah.
We're getting fat leavers. We're getting Father Rod Strickland. You know, we're getting Tim Hardaway's crossover. So, you know, we're getting from the 80s, where the 80s first started to see players that didn't need a center to win. I mean, I wasn't just about to say Dr. J, but I mean, Dr. J did have Moses Malone. He is the one who won the Finals MVP and MVP. But, you know, before he didn't have, he lost to Bill Walton.
Yeah. Bill Walton was nice.
Bill Walton was nice. Unfortunately, those are injuries. And he still came back with a 6-man of the year in the 80s.
I can't stand Bill Walton as a commentator.
Oh, no.
He's terrible.
He's funny to me. He's funny to me. I don't
but I ain't gonna lie, he was a pretty good player.
Yeah. So, you know, back in the 70s, you know, you had Dave Cowens, you had Cowens, you had these big men. You had Wes Unseld, rest in peace.
Bobby Jones.
Exactly. You had big men that won those championships. Now in the 80s, starting in 1980, rookie Magic Johnson dropping a 40-point triple-double to win the Finals MVP because Kareem's out, and he beats Dr. J. One of the greatest performances of all time. Then you have the next year, Larry Bird, even though somehow he doesn't win the Finals MVP, that went to Cedric Maxwell, I think. He beats the Houston Rockets. You know, he actually beats Moses Malone. You know, so, and eventually you get to, you know, the Detroit Pistons. You know, Celtics, Lakers, of course they win in the Lakers. So, you know, you get to Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, you know. Their center is probably, even though he's great, he's probably the worst one out of the 5. You know?
For sure.
You know, so it gets to the point where now we're in the 90s. You know, it's progress. Now we're in the 90s. Michael Jordan, you know, Detroit wins one more. Then it's Michael Jordan time. So Michael Jordan, he plays a team. You know, Michael Jordan, he's obviously the best player in the world right now. He plays the the Lakers. Again, they're not led by a center no more. Kareem is gone. Now it's Vlade Divac.
Smack.
So, okay. Then, you know, he wins that. 92, he plays another shooting guard, Clyde Drexler, who I didn't mention earlier when I was talking about, you know, who the Jazz would have faced. Because Clyde Drexler was nasty.
Okay.
Then you get to Charles Barkley. And even though Charles Barkley's a power forward, this man is like 6'5".
I consider him a bit of a big man.
He's big, but he didn't have the height. He's big like this, but not like this. So it gets to that point, and even though it's funny, even though I'm saying this because the center won the next 2 rings after MJ retired in 95, Hakeem. And then those teams that he beat were led by big men. It's just crazy, even though I'm saying all this. But then after that, Michael wins 3 more. So I think it gets to that point, and in that time, the Rod Father comes about, Tim Hardaway's out here, you know, and even big men are starting to become mobile because Chris Webber's here. Christian Laettner's here, where Christian Laettner's now, I'm not saying Christian Laettner, you know, can take the ball, dribble down the court or something, but, you know, he can pass, he can shoot, he can do things. You know, it's not back to the basket no more. So that's how I think, that's why we went all the way off the walls, but that's the reason why we don't see John Stockton's like that anymore. Yeah. Because you don't have to. And at the same time, from an athlete's point of view, in a way, that's kind of a boring way to play. If we're being real.
Yeah, I mean.
And you know, there's.
It's just like in the what's the Disney basketball movie, Glory Road. You remember?
Yeah.
They were coming in. They were trying to be all flashy. They were talking about flashy point guards or whatever. Coach is like, nah, we play my way.
We're here to play basketball my way, and my way is hard.
You're my office, chump. We do not back down ever.
Yeah,
nobody wants to pick and roll. No, you don't want to see, but like you said, nobody wants to see that boring. Oh yeah, here's the easy basket. Here's the easy pass.
And that's crazy because, I respect. I'm not. What I'm about to say is not in any way to disrespect the WNBA. I actually respect the WNBA.
Same.
Shout out to Seattle Storm and Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart, Finals MVP. Coming off of a torn Achilles, crazy. She's just disgusting.
Mamba mentality.
But shout out to her, man. Swept the Las Vegas Aces. Liz Cambridge is on that team. Yeah, that's crazy.
Asia Wilson.
And Asia. Yeah, I mean, Asia Wilson's on that team, man. Like, but what I was about to say was a lot of the biggest reason, in my opinion, why the WNBA isn't where I think it should be. It should be is because people are so been on that entertainment.
Yes.
So at this point, we're getting into nearly 50 years of dunks, posters, So the public has moved on from that point back, where it's the right way.
Remember the Jelly
Yeah,
Fam
Jelly Fam, even though
we can see. Yes, we know they make layups, but then you move it over to the WNBA. Guys tend to disrespect. We want to see a dunk.
But the thing about the Jelly Fam, Jelly Coop went to Villanova and flopped. Hopefully he does good. He's at Bama now.
I'm weak.
But I wish him the best. No hate.
Flop.
But that's why, and one of my biggest respects about women basketball is if you're learning the game, if you want to learn the game, that's where you go to watch.
Sure.
You put on a game at UConn or Baylor or Notre Dame or Stanford. Watch one of those great teams, or watch the WNBA. That's the thing. That's the difference in college hoops for men and women's. You can get some good basketball in, but when you take it to the professional side, on the WNBA, you can still watch good fundamental basketball. Exactly. But in the NBA, they're so far gone from that fundamental side where it's just that's they're at the point where you're taking a class and they did the fundamentals when they were 5 and now they're here.
And now they're just here to do what they want.
Now, so it looks like they're not doing the fundamentals, but they know
no
the fundamentals.
Coaching, like Kyrie said. We don't need a coach.
No, that's just disrespectful.
Again, Steve Nash.
That's a mute point. We respect Steve Nash.
Yeah, we respect Steve.
I love some Steve Nash. But yeah, man, it was just kind of in my opinion, I won't say a boring way to play, but even though I just did. But I can see players, because I look, my little brother's a sophomore in high school now, so he's been on the AAU trail since the 3rd grade, so he's his team's gone against even Bronny and Mikey,
nice.
Some of the top talents. He's played with some of the top talents. He's played with he knows kids who's gotten offers from Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, stuff like that. He's. And mind you, these are 13, 14-year-olds at the point where they're getting these offers. He's at the point where I know for a fact that he is a scholarship athlete.
Great.
But so he's I've seen the future of basketball with my own eyes.
Change.
And nobody out there play like John Stockton.
Yeah, nah.
I'm telling you, I've seen centers.
Modern day.
I've seen centers dribble like Tim Hardaway.
I mean, look at Boogie playing for the Warriors last year.
I've seen centers play like Boogie.
Bring the ball up so many times.
I know for a fact that where we're at now, where people are I wish the game would come back to more fundamental. Well, I'm sorry, Buckaroo. You're not going to ever see that again.
We have 13-year-olds doing windmills. I remember when I was in middle school, there was one guy that knew how to dunk.
Being able to touch the net was nice.
What? But just touching the top of the door.
It's so crazy.
Just touching the top of the door.
It's so crazy because I was just thinking, back when, in middle school, being able to, grab the neck, maybe hang on to it, that was ooh, that was we got bunnies.
Accomplished.
Now, my freshman year, back in college 2 years ago, I actually went to Norfolk, Virginia with them to Boo Williams. They got a nice sports complex up there. And it was a maid tournament. And one of the kids from the team, Josh's team got so big to the point where they split it up. And one of the players on one of those teams dunked. So Josh is 15 now, so they were 13, 14 back then. Just crazy.
It's crazy that how quickly
And I can't even dunk. I'm not even gonna cap. I can't dunk.
Dang, I can get.
I'm tall, but I can't dunk.
Hands
but
are not big
I know
enough.
Boys that we're right here, or we're right here at that point, and they, boom, how boy? What are they feeding you?
What's going on?
So
what workout are you doing? Because I need it.
So that's the reason why I don't. There is no John Stockton.
Yeah.
In my eye in the NBA right now, and that's the reason why I also don't see another one coming. Our socials are down below.
Sure.
Thanks for tuning in with us. It's been PrimeTime Sports Podcast, brought to you by Digging in the Crazy Sugar and Max Show. I'm your boy Filthy Franco.
President Eli.
And we're signing out. Y'all be safe out there.